Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hey, can I change my name from Mad Mac to Candy Ass?
He did. He called me a candy ass.
We called you Candy Ass like 9 times, and
I
you
know, and I
barely.
didn't even do anything. I should
What
say
kind of?
he was like
Thank God
threatening my
you. Thank
manhood.
God you had 2 girls. Okay, you know that. Thank God you did not have a son. You
There
and
you go.
Kuziak, both of you.
I don't
I
mind
can't
you
even.
making fun of my family and me and all that, but I just, known each other a while.
Some
But I
meathead
don't
from
know
Ground
him, and
Point
he's talking about my
bashing you
family.
in the. Yeah, what's the deal? And can I ask you? And I get it that when Fernando said Trump hates Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, he said that. I get it that you didn't hear it because when I'm on there with Dabberton in the show and Fernando calls in, we're barely listening to a word the guy says. I mean, he has to be. He's given Hispanics and Mexicans and the whole crew a really bad name. He's one of the dumbest guys I've ever met in my life. And guess
Well,
who he
hold
works
on a
for?
second.
Guess who he works for? The government.
Listen. He and many other Hispanics, he represents, just like you represent a lot of people that feel like you do, similarly. A lot of Hispanics feel as if they are being targeted now culturally, politically, legally. And if they're feeling that way, do you ever ask your question why they're feeling that way?
Yeah, because they're stupid. Because they're not being targeted. They're targeting illegal immigrants, people who have broken the law. That's it. Color makes no difference. They don't care. And I will say, because I catch this from some little gal I'm involved with, yeah, I get it. They made a couple mistakes. Like a woman who's been here 25 years just had a baby and then they grab her. It's like, okay, now why do you, what crime did she commit? Unless she did commit a crime and you don't know. I get there's a couple boo-boos, it happens. But the most of these guys, I mean, you had a U.S. Senator, a Democrat, fly down to Cuba or wherever the hell they had this guy locked up, having margaritas with the guy who kicked the crap out of his wife like 5 times. The guy's running drugs, and you Democrats want this guy to be free in the United States again? Are you guys a bunch of candy asses? Ooh. I really want my name changed, though, Jimmy. But, hey, the reason I'm calling, too,
Hold on,
since
we
you
have
got
to
on
address that topic because
Well, wait, I got to tell you, it's about your radio station.
okay,
You're going on and off the air a lot today.
that was me. That was a user error. I was waiting for Semino to get here and fix it, but I was not.
What a shock!
Yeah, that was me, and I am sorry.
And you candy ass producer, you.
Anyways,
Don't be hanging up on me either.
well,
All right,
here's the thing. I'd like to try to stay somewhere near the truth or accurate portrayal of life. Okay,
that's why I call in.
Well, I think that you saying that you're basically involved with a Hispanic woman is.
I never said that.
All
Never
right, I
said
thought
that
you
at
were
all.
hinting at that. All right, I thought you were saying. Right.
Can
Well,
you?
All right. So let's leave the Hispanic
You're the
part out of
absolute
it.
worst.
Hold on. You having a woman or being involved with a woman, I like people to just tell the truth, okay? I don't like them to just like make up stories, you know what I mean?
That's why you voted for Joe Biden. And that's why you told me, listen, don't worry what you're saying here during a football broadcast. They'll never know what the truth is. Okay. This is coming
That
from
was
the
radio.
truth
Now
there.
we have to it wasn't that. I mean, it's like people when Kuziak and I would do games together and brand new producers like say Semino was doing the game and we'd come back or we'd get there late or we'd forget to
or
announce
drunk
stuff.
or high or whatever
No,
you
I
guys
don't
were
want to say
doing.
that, but
Well, yeah, I know it's the truth, but
it
I
was
mean, yeah,
radio,
avoid
like
that.
Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan said the same thing. How he used to just make things up and
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that, but
yeah. But anyways, you were going to say something else, and I forgot what it is, and probably so did you.
no. Hey, listen, that guy who called in from saying go to Chicago, that guy didn't have the balls to even stay in the region, and he moved to Porter County. If you watch people who go to Chicago, they wiped out 4 guys last night in 30 seconds. I mean, the brothers can't control themselves. This is the second time in 2 years at the exact same location. Holy moly. Are you kidding me?
What do you
I
mean by
wouldn't go.
brothers?
Black people. They shot each other last night. That's what the whole group was. And then 2 years ago, they did the exact same thing. They shot 5 dead the last time.
So are you
I mean, you
saying that
gotta be
like white
kidding
people
me.
are they don't shoot each other or what?
Okay, let me check the national crime statistics here. Yeah, looks like 50. It's up to 52% now. Crimes committed in America are done by African Americans. I don't know why the government printed that, Jimmy, but they did.
Well,
I
put
don't
it
know
this
what
way:
to tell
in
you.
terms of mass shootings, which this was, and it's very sad that it happened. Most mass shootings, believe it or not, statistically, and I haven't looked at exactly what the numbers are committed by white males.
Right. True.
So,
No doubt about
I mean,
it.
how does
No,
that
wait.
how does that go veer into the conversation that you're talking about? You know, which is in some areas seen as kind of a derogatory comment of calling black people brothers, but the
Listen, you say the same thing. Don't hide behind that phony. Oh, I'm Jimmy. I'm not a candy ass.
so
I had to
so
come over
here's
there
the
and
deal.
slap you.
In terms of this mass shooting in Chicago, yes, it was, from what I could tell, mostly black people that are involved.
Dude, it was
But
a
when there's
rap
a mass
party for a
shooting, when
drop
there's
in
a
an
mass shooting
album.
of like, you know, white people, guy shoots up a school or something like that, is it you know, is that the first thing that you go to? Oh, it's a white guy shooting up a school. You know what I mean? Is that part of the conversation?
You know who does that, Jimmy? The FBI. That's who does that. They figure it out. That's called profiling. That's how you try to prevent crimes. You try to stop things from happening. I can't even imagine what Brandon Johnson, Brandon Johnson from Chicago is coming out with a big safety meeting for the 4th of July weekend. Yep, it's going to be the safest city in the world. And he's going to tell you, and I hired all black people because they do better than anybody. Yeah, hey, Einstein, what about Wednesday night? So, hey, one last thing, Jimmy. I can't believe this Chicago guy, though. He says, go to Chicago. Don't worry about it. Now, don't walk a block and a half to the train. Take an armored Uber. What is that guy? Is that guy kidding me, Jimmy? He couldn't even stay in the region.
Well, I mean, everybody has their different opinions and values, and that's what makes this kind of
Oh, yeah, I was in
interesting.
L.A. for 3 months, and then I came back, and I went right to Munster Donuts. Hey, Einstein, when's the last time anybody got shot and killed in Munster? When's the last time? Would you tell your girls, Jimmy, to go to dinner
No,
downtown?
not my family again. Okay, you
Okay,
could give a
hey, let's
generic
go with
thing.
my family.
Yeah.
My 3 girls. Would I ever tell them to go to downtown Chicago to go have steak at Gibson's? Not a chance on the planet. No way possible. But I'd certainly tell them, hey, you want to go over to Munster on the little food strip there in Calumet? You stay there till 3 a.m. because you're not going to get. At least I know you're not going to get killed. Okay. And that guy, he gets the dumbest caller of the year award. But on
Thank
that,
you,
listen,
thank you. Samino's
hey,
telling me we got to hang up. Let's go to the next one. Hey, you are on the air. How are you?
Oh, happy early Independence Day, Jim.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, one little message. My main point is kind of being right of center, obviously in between Mad Mac and Fernando. As everyone's traveling, as you're seeing on the Interstate South, things haven't been good with accidents with semis and everything, but I can tell those folks, too, who are traveling a little south, a lot of folks coming in like Cheech and Chong when they roll down their window and fall out of the car to spend their money. The local police, man, they've been busting people for impaired driving left and right. It's not alcohol. So just be careful when you're traveling a little south of that. Here's the question I have for
hold
you.
on a second. I think you're referring to, hi, how are you? Hi. They have a contingent here that is spending the week here learning robotics from Vietnam. And it's kind of hard to communicate, but one or two of them speak English. And anyways, you bring up a good point. Every person in the region, how about you, Semino? You ever like pull up to a stoplight and you could smell the weed that the person in the car that has their window open next to you is smoking? I mean, when did that become like okay? You know what I mean? I
Right.
agree with you. I feel like there are a lot of people smoking weed and driving. And
Well, and Jim, I don't want to stereotype, and I did live in Lake County at one point until family, could got more affordable housing in a more rural setting, we'll say. And the folks, we have a couple businesses that do really big business with folks from Illinois and Lake County, some Porter as well. Every car I'm not saying it's the majority of people, but when they roll out of the car and one guy's got the cigar to cover up the smell, but you can't cover up that smell of skunk, we'll say, it's Illinois, it's Lake County, it's not really Porter coming in. And so the issue is you can't drink too much and be on the road. Aren't you kind of being impaired if you're driving, if you're smoking pot?
absolutely.
And so
I agree with that.
And so we'll just say some of these rural areas, man, they're getting those guys left and right now to try and protect everybody. If it's you and your grandchild driving on the road or whomever. So that's a quick message. The one thing I did want to ask you with Elon Musk, and now with what the mayor recently said, because about 80% of Americans are barely right of center or barely left of center. I'm right of center. What do you think about the idea of this new moderate party that he's floating? And if he can get Elon, whoever could get Elon Musk money, you think that could ever fly?
First of all, I've always kind of been a follower of Elon Musk and his technological ideas. And to some extent, that's how JED TV Sports Network came out, about how he's like, just challenge the status quo. And you have to, there aren't any rules and just make them up as you go along in terms of technology. And I fully have embraced that. I was a little disappointed that he was willy-nilly cutting government without looking at, what it actually does. But I think he's kind of come to where I originally kind of looked at him and said, I kind of like this guy. And that's when he's in the center and he's espousing center views like he is now. And I think that you're right that 80% of people, or maybe, I don't think it's that high, I'd say the majority of people are just right of center or just left of center, like McDermott's podcast, right? And could you carve those folks out and make a third party? I don't know how that would work out. My initial feeling is the followers of Donald Trump that are deep dyed and they're not going to, they just follow him as, kind of Messiah-like qualities, don't question what he does or anything. They're going to go for him, and that's about a third of the people, right? And then you got all these people in the center, and then you got people way on the left. All you're really doing at that point is clearing it out for Trump to have a longer run in power, because the rest of the populace would be fighting it out, and Trump has his core. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. This interesting thing is Trump is so unique. Close to me, there's a lot of rednecks, and they are so MAGA. Donald Trump wouldn't give them the time of day in regular life. Some of us chuckle about that. I have a friend who's definitely left of center, and we talk about that all the time. But he is very unique. But one thing Musk can do is he's got money, and money drives this whole thing when it comes to politics and making things happen. I'm curious how serious he is, because I'm not positive, but I believe the Republicans came over, and they're going to vote for his big bill. So is he going to put people up in primary against them, or is he really going to start this third party? Think about it. Abraham Lincoln was 4 years after the Republican Party was a startup party. Will we see that? I don't know. But I would say right now the Democrats are way too left. The Republicans are extremely conservative, maybe too conservative. And down the middle, if you get guys like John Gregg, who is a Democratic governor, who is kind of pretty moderate, he's a little older now, but I don't know if it's going to be the mayor. But you get someone like the mayor, and he might be the most visible person statewide who can get it done, because the current mayor of Indianapolis has got some trouble going on.
You're
as
talking
kind of
about
a moderate
you're
Democrat.
talking about the mayor of Hammond.
Well, the current mayor of Hammond, yeah, McDermott.
And I've thought about that too, and because his style is very similar to Trump's style, in that, I mean, if you guys don't know, Semino, you probably don't know the history here. At some point, I had to turn to McDermott and said, hey, listen, basically you're going to get me sued, and people are going to try to take my radio station, and I don't want that, and you don't want that. You need to do it as a podcast and do it yourself. And lo and behold, a year and a half later, he gets sued. So I'm not vindicated. I just know that his brand leaves him open for that kind of stuff. But I think people are attracted to that open frankness that he presents. And I've thought the same thing too. I'm like, who can relate to a middle ground farmer, right?
Right.
Well, they're going to go to Trump right now because they got no option, right? But if you get
most
a guy
of the farmers are.
Go ahead.
Most of them are going to be I know these folks well. Most of them are going to stay Republican as a whole, unless the policy and what drives the big organization that has a great deal of influence is the Farm Bureau, not the insurance end, the other end that deals with trying to make policy. So whoever starts stepping on their toes with bad policies from their perspective, then they'll switch. But also, they're Republican for the most part in Indiana.
For the most part. But I think some of that has eroded, and I have family that lives in rural areas, and they're really just even the threat of all these tariffs and what it would do to the exports of grains has kind of turned them a little bit. They're like, hey man, no one's talking about this, but it's going to kill us in our rural areas. It's not like, and I don't want to blow smoke on McDermott, because he and I could be not getting along and not speaking tomorrow, right? But his method, whether he's a Republican or Democrat, and he was a Republican, or his dad was, right? So his dad was. Yeah, he says left of center, but he's not that much left of center if you really start talking to him. He's just center. And that's his content, but his form of saying sometimes really kind of hurtful things to people and off-the-cuff things, people like that now. You know what I mean? They want to hear that. I don't know why, but that's how it is. So you made a good analysis of that. Could he be portrayed as just another region Democrat around the state of Indiana? Of course he could.
Well, that would be the issue, but someone's got to be the first one to take a chance. Someone's got to be the first one in that batter's box. And maybe it will be him, because let's be honest, I think he can keep winning in Hammond, even if he did this, because honestly, from my perspective, someone who lives 45 minutes south of Hammond, I would go to Hammond. I don't want to get there because of the expressway, but elsewise, he's the one who's keeping it viable from my perspective. I don't know what it will turn into, and I don't mean that as a negative way. It's struggling like certain parts of Lake County have, and he's one making stuff happen.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for your phone call. Too bad you moved a long way away from here, and we miss you.
Well, my parents did it over 50 years ago, and have a happy holiday. And be safe driving south.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. We'll talk about people rolling up to you smoking weed. We'll talk about McDermott for governor. We'll talk about Happy Independence Day. Typically, I end at 8 o'clock, but I'm going to come back for one more segment. Semino, is that okay with you? We'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.